Hey guys, MaddDogg Miller here, breaking down Bellator 92 for the 6th round podcast. Before we get into that, just want to freestyle here for a second. Last week, Bellator 91, what a card, all except for the main event. Of course, the Bellator haters came out just to say how boring the main event was. Where were you guys the last 3 cards? I don't know. But, you know, it's good for you guys to poke your head out and get some air once in a while, I suppose. But even with that great card we had, would have gone undefeated last week, except for, just like I said on the last one, Sayada Wad came out with that flash KO on Will Brooks. Will Brooks had all the tools. He even posted on Twitter following that fight how he had a half-assed a camp and didn't really train the way he should, which these are the factors. You know, when picking fights, you never really do know how people are going to perform. But, you know, that's done, and now we're moving on to this. Couple of fun facts for the prelims, Bellator 92. Akop Stepanian, who actually lost very controversially to Marlon Sandro in the quarterfinals, who actually, I believe it should have been a draw and they should have gone to an extended round if you actually did watch that fight. They really should have had one more round because Stepanian was deducted a point for grabbing the cage. And it was kind of weird because the ref did it in between rounds. Not even in between rounds. He did it at the start of the next round, something nobody had ever really seen before in MMA. That's just a fun fact. He'll be fighting Chris Saunders, Ultimate Fighter alumni, in the prelims. And so, you know, it'd be fun to see how that goes. I have a cop pretty much destroying Saunders, but that's not going to be debated tonight. Then also in the prelims, we have Shade Smith, who's the very first openly gay fighter in MMA. He's taking on Aaron Miller. Not really any news there. Just, you know, some people like to know that kind of stuff, so I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, that's pretty much all the little fun facts in the prelims. Let's move on to the main card. We have 4 fights to break down. So here we go, guys. This is your Bellator breakdown. First fight scheduled for the Spike card, Alejandro Popo Becerra versus Mike the Marine Richmond. I am so pumped for this fight. This fight could be the final. It could be the main event. Like, this is such a good fight. Both guys are so talented on the feet and on the ground. Really, it could end anywhere, but so far I'm favoring Popo into this, but hey, let's bring that into detail. Mike the Marine Richmond, unbelievable fighter. He's got such amazing power. He comes in with a record of 14-2. One of those losses being to Shumpalayev, and he's really looking to avenge that loss. But he's actually coming as the underdog at plus 115. This line has moved around so much. When this first came out, Richmond was the favorite, and then he was underdog. Then he's back to the favorite. Now he's back to the underdog. He's holding firm there. And really, I think he brings more power to the table, but he is less rounded, especially against a guy like Alejandro Popo Becerra, who's probably one of my favorite fighters at 145 in Bellator. Alejandro is going to bring in a record of 15-2. He's now settled as the favorite at negative 145. He originally opened up at plus money, and I didn't catch him in time. Now he's negative 110, or he was negative 110, and I actually scored him there, and I have a very small play on him right now at negative 110. But he seems to be holding firm at 145. Really, again, this fight could really end anywhere. Popo is 15-2, like I said. Those 2 losses, one by decision to Marlon Sandro, the other one by submission to Do Bronx himself, Charles Oliveira. This fight could really go anywhere. Richmond has been knocked out. Popo has never been knocked out. I think Popo will be willing to hang on the feet, and if Richmond does start to pose too much of a threat, he can take him down and submit him. He does have those kind of skills. But again, really anything can happen in this bout. Both guys are so talented and so good. I am so pumped for this and cannot wait to see what happens. Following that is the other featherweight semifinal bout, Marlon Sandro versus Magomedrasul Frodo. It's a tough one, guys. Don't make fun of me. Magomedrasul Frodo Kospolayev. If there's one thing I can say about Bellator, it has improved my Russian drastically. But this is going to be a really close contest between 2 very well-rounded guys. Both guys can hang on the feet, both guys can hang on the ground, and both guys can wrestle. So literally, this fight can go anywhere. But let's start with Marlon Sandro, long-time Nova União fighter. Marlon Sandro comes with a record of 24-4. He is the favorite at negative 140. The only reason he is the favorite is because he has been in the game longer. He's more well-known. He's been in Bellator for a long time. He's a 2-time tournament finalist. He keeps making it to the finals and then just kapoots out. But like Jimmy Smith said over and over in his last fight, which should have been a draw, like I said earlier, against Akop Stepanian, he actually looked like he was aging and slowing down and not really the old warrior we knew him as, especially coming against a guy like Frodo, who comes with a record of 19-5. He's the underdog at plus 110. Not a high enough number for me to really make a play on him. I even said after his bout against Chico, which was an awesome bout. Chico was the huge favorite coming to that. Everybody thought that he was going to win. He was like the tournament underdog, the black sheep everyone was talking about. Frodo manhandled him not only on the feet, also on the ground. The Brazilian, who's touted for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he actually caught him in a heel hook, I believe it was. And right now, you know, Frodo's coming up with a 7-fight win streak. He is a beast. He's a Russian Sambo fighter. He trains at Greg Jackson MMA. He is not to be underestimated. And I'm just not going to go anywhere near this fight. Sandro's looking too old. Frodo's a little bit too young. You know, it's two different fruits. One's starting to rot, the other one's not ripe yet. And so I'm just not going to touch this fight yet. I just can't wait to enjoy it as a fan and see what happens. Leading us into the very first middleweight semifinal bout, Brett Cooper versus Dan Kramer. This is really a bout between two powerful wrestlers that have great chins and can also pose a threat on the feet. Both guys have decent stand-up, but really their main skills lie in the wrestling, although I do give the striking advantage to Brett Cooper. But first, let's start with Dan Kramer. I was actually surprised at this line. When I first started analyzing this fight, waiting for the lines to come out, I really wanted to bet Brett Cooper as underdog. But Dan Kramer comes in as the underdog at plus 110. This line has moved around a lot too. Dan Kramer, 10-3, trains at American Top Team. He's a long-time Bellator vet and an Ultimate Fighter alumni. He's coming off a win against Brett Rogers, a decision win. What a barn burner. If you didn't see that fight, you missed two guys beating the hell out of each other for 15 minutes. That was a great fight. And that fight really displayed Dan Kramer's chin and how much punishment he can take, especially a guy like Brian Rogers, who can really dish out a lot of hurt really fast. But really what he also showed in that fight was cardio and fight IQ. He knows how to take his time. He knows how to get in there and work his game plan and not go outside the game plan and really screw himself in a bout. But, like I said earlier, I'm favoring Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper is extremely well-rounded, been in the game for a long time. He's also a young kid. He's 18-7. He's the favorite right now at negative 140. He actually opened at negative 170, which I was so surprised to see because I expected him to be the underdog, considering Dan Kramer is slightly more known around fans. But again, I don't know if I will bet this fight or not. The numbers don't interest me, and also the styles don't interest me. Really, I don't know who the better wrestler is. If I had to pick one, like I said earlier, it'd be Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper is a little bit, I think, tougher chin, a little bit more well-rounded. Dan Kramer hasn't really been knocked out, but he has been TKO'd in Bellator. And Brett Cooper has never been knocked out. He's got a great chin, great cardio, terrific wrestling, and heavy hands. So really, I think they all do the same thing, or both do the same thing, but I think Brett Cooper does all of it a little bit better, and that'll be the deciding factor. But again, I think this is a really close fight, and really could go either way. So it'll be fun to see how it plays out. And finally, the other middleweight semifinal bout, the posted main event of the evening, Doug the Rhino Marshall versus Sultan Aliyev. This is a really interesting bout in the fact that Marshall's coming in as the underdog again for the third time in his Bellator career. Again, especially against a guy like Aliyev, who we really don't know too much about. He's had a really successful run on the Russian circuit, and he did defeat Mikhail Proud in the quarterfinal to get into this position, where he did display wrestling, which I believe is why he's so favored. It's because he's the first guy that Marshall has faced in Bellator that will try to take him down, most likely. But Aliyev comes in with a record of 9-0. He's the favorite at negative 280, which I think is a bit of a large number, although in his opening bout against Proud, he did display good head movement, good footwork, really stiff jab, and good takedowns. Although he does show that he does have faith in his striking, which to me means he will probably stand with Rhino, which is the ultimate failure. Although Rhino is known for having a really bad chin, he's more known for having pretty poor cardio, so you should really work him into the later rounds. Rhino's coming in as the underdog at plus 220. I've already made a play on this, nothing too big. He's been in the game for a long time. He's a very experienced veteran, although he only has a record of 16-6. He's the former WEC light heavyweight champ. He actually started his career out at heavyweight and has progressively worked his way down to middleweight. And he's gone through a couple of rough years, but he's finally getting his camp together and really focusing and working his stand-up, which he really has displayed in his last two fights. Some argue that it was a bad stoppage against Spang. You know, when you spin a guy in a 360, lands face first, and you have time to walk away, like, yeah, Spang wasn't totally out of it. Could the fight have kept going? Yes. But was it a fair stoppage? In my opinion, yes. Decent enough. And with that, I conclude this little breakdown of Bellator 92. Just want to say thanks for listening, guys. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at The Sixth Round, or follow us on Twitter at The Sixth Round PC, or you can follow me, MaddDogg Miller, at MaddDogg Miller. But as always, check out our main sponsor, the MMAmovement.com, and enjoy the fights, guys. Thanks for listening.